Okay, not yet on my end, but that's okay. It takes a while.
Okay, well, I see Lutz up wanting a card. She came on at 6:16, so that was pretty good timing.
6:16?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi. So while you're sitting there waiting, I actually pulled a card for you, and the card is the Emperor. Now, I am using Curious Creatures from last week,
Uh-huh.
and so for Litz, I pulled the Emperor. And my camera isn't doing as well as it should. Um, you mean like that, Ash? Okay, it's a little blurred, but I don't know why it's doing it. So maybe time for a new camera. This is the Emperor, and what I think of when I see this card is the Godfather. And I've never seen the show, so it makes me think I'm going to make you an offer. What is it you want? Now it is the 4. It's a major arcana, and it's number 4, which is associated to astrology sign Aries. And Aries, I only know that because I looked it up. Aries is March 21st, April 19th. And what I think of with Aries is ambition. It's going forward and doing something that you really want to do. So there may be something here that you want to do, and they're saying go for it. Don't be afraid of it. Keep moving. It also makes me think that when you sit in a position of power or authority, it's really important that you weigh your pros and cons when you decide to talk to people and how you're talking to them. And that also may be, if I flip it, it could be referring to someone who's not treating you properly because they're in the power of authority. So, there are avenues you can go to. You could have a nice little talk with them, or you go higher up. But right now it's being ambitious. So I'm going to go with that for you, ambitious. Okay, so next we have Dominica, Carly, Faye, Renee, Shasha, Manuel, and I think Heather, Lily, our other cousin. And Carly says, wondering if you could pull a card for a baby. No, I don't really like pulling cards for baby, honey.
Not for baby.
And then there's Jen and Jeannie and Brandon. So Dominica is next.
Dominique or Dominica?
Dominica.
Do you know, first, you got the Page of Pentacles. Pentacles talks about a couple of things, but one of the things is money. And if you notice, this, I'm going to say it's either an alpaca or a llama. What do you think it is?
Llama.
Okay, you notice how it's put all its, the stuff it trades with, their fur, in baskets for sale. So now's the time for you to make sure that if you're selling something like a craft or a skill, first that you make sure that you know its true value. A lot of times, so for example, a person who crochets quilts, they spend 200 hours creating 100 by 100 square quilt, and then they sell it for $40. They didn't appreciate its true value. And that's what one of the things this card is saying. Bear in mind, Bailey's eating her food. And sorry for the noise. And the other thing is, pages always make me think of beginnings. The beginning, the start of something. So don't be surprised if something new is coming into your life. There is a message coming to you from a distance. I'm not sure what the message is, but I think it might be either by letter or by Bailey, come. That's enough. She's not starving, guys, I promise. But this letter is coming and it's bringing news. So How you deal with the news is your choice. Up to you.
Okay. We have for Carly, we have the Hanged Man. Okay. And the Hanged Man normally means to release, to stand still, to be patient. Not always a forefront for me. It's number 12, which is December, and December is Sagittarian and Capricorn, and I only know that because our brother was on the cusp of Sagittarian into Capricorn, and I had a mother-in-law who was in Capricorn. And they, for me, it's like Capricorns are industrious people, and they're normally silent people unless they're, unless something really upsets them. Whereas Sagittarian, they can be, again, ambitious people. They have no problem getting what they want because they know exactly how to get it. So when I look at this, Carly, it's patient. Be patient. Whatever it is that you need to look to work on, it's going to fall into place. And just out of curiosity, is the baby you're talking about already born, or is it still in utero? And would you know if it's a girl? So you can answer all that below for me. Next is our cousin Faye.
Okay. This card is very appropriate for you. This is the Hierophant. But one of the things, by the way, guys, I'm using a deck called the Animal Tarot by Lisa Robertson. It's a brand new deck. I just got it this last weekend. But what this card says is a couple of things. Do you have faith in your faith? Do you have faith in the world around you? Look at all the beauty around you, the northern lights, there's keys of knowledge. Do you have faith in yourself to believe that you have all the skills, all the wisdom, all the knowledge to move forward from where you are? And that's something you might even want to just pursue in writing in a little notebook. I started taking D'Arcy's suggestion and I went out and bought a little notebook, which is funny because I use notebooks at work all the time and I never think to bring them home just to scribble. But anyway, so take a pen and paper, pen and notebook. Bailey, Natushpa. Sorry, guys. And write about what you have faith in. Do you have faith that what you know and what you have is what you need to move towards the next journey?
All right. Well, Renee, you have the Ten of Wands. And as you can see, there's a heavy load on the back. It's like packing the world, packing the responsibility, and you're walking in sand, which is like walking on ice. But this tells me that even though it looks dangerous, it looks slippery, it looks like maybe you could be out of control as you're packing this, you're actually not. That your fortitude to get it to where you want that load to be is actually going to happen. Now, our dad used to call that the lazy man load. You take everything at once and hope you don't break anything along the way. So I am going to say that maybe when we look at this, instead of trying to pack everything and the weight of the world on your shoulders, you should sit it to the side and go through the little basket sort of idea and see if you can take a few things out and do them first and then look at doing the rest. So remember, it's divide and conquer. That's what I have to say. So Shay Shay is next. Hi, Shay Shay.
Hi, Shay Shay. So Shay Shay, for you, the Knight of Wands, and the Knight of Wands in this deck happens to be portrayed as an ostrich. And you know, the funny thing about ostriches is that they are most noted for something that they don't even do. They actually do not put their heads in the sand the way people think they do. But they do lower their head between their legs to look for better strategies to get out of a situation that they're in. And when I think of the Knight of Wands says It's another one that talks about having the courage to go on your journey. To People always assume that the ostrich was a coward, but it's not a coward, it's a survivalist. So have the courage and know that you can survive any adversity. And that sometimes that means have the courage to let go of the things that are not working. And I feel like there's a thread to this message that if I haven't said this to you before, it's like you can't keep hope. Well, you can cling on to any concept and misconception that you have that it's going to work, but it's not going to work because you want it to. And at some point, you might want to plan an exit strategy that allows you to move safely forward.
All right. Hi, Manuela. You have justice, which is November, and it's balance. Okay, but we all know the saying, justice is blind. So sometimes when we're trying to balance something, we may borrow a little from Peter to pay Paul sort of idea. But in this particular case, it makes me feel that you should be dancing, you should be celebrating, that November is Scorpio and Sagittarian. If you go by true astrology, for me, it would just be Scorpion, which means a passion month, a month for putting all that energy that you have into your ideas and your concepts. And even if all the passion is lining them up, that's great. But if you are able to actually put them into action, this is the time to do it. And I'm not going to say everything will work the way you want it to, but I would say the bulk of it would work the way you want it to. So have a look, see what it is you really want to get going. But the other portion, the dancing portion, makes me feel like it should be a month of freedom for you, of not packing worry with you, of actually putting it to the side and saying, okay, I can deal with this later, even if it's later tonight or later next week. And it just feels like you need to take some downtime, some time for yourself to rejuvenate, and either that's through dancing, having a little bit of a spa weekend, whatever it is. Really pay attention to what your body is telling you. All right, next is Heather. Hello, Heather.
Heather, the Seven of Swords. Now, ironically enough, I love this creature. This creature actually reminds me, this little gopher-like creature, reminds me of a cat I had many years ago. And so if you take a look, this little, we'll call it a gopher-like creature. It has acquired, and no one quite knows how it's acquired, these 7 swords. And it's rumored that, they're sneaky. They're a little bit sly. But that is actually a way to survive and excel. So when I say this card reminds me of a cat, I had a cat called Cougar. And he had a broken nose. He had an eye that didn't he was blind in one eye, and he had an eye that didn't close. He didn't breathe properly. He was partially deaf and partially blind. One of the things he would do is he would sneak food when no one was looking. I mean, you should have been able to see it. But he was so quiet and held it so close to himself, his master plan, that this is no word of a lie. Within the first week of owning him, I went to bed one night. I pulled back the sheet. There are 2 empty tuna cans that he had dug into the recycle bag. He had to have carried them across the living room to take them up a flight of stairs to tuck into my bed. And he literally tucked them under everything. So what this is about is if you have a plan, you've got some new plan, a goal and a dream that you want to achieve in the next 6 months to a year, except sharing it with your partner, keep it close. Don't let the rest of the world know your business. Be like Cougar, that stealthy cat. He wasn't really being sneaky. He was keeping his business close to him, so nobody knew what was going on until he wanted you to know, which was at bedtime when he sat at the foot of the bed and you pulled back the sheets, and surprise, he had his hidden food reserve. So that's what that card is about. It's about using a little stealth, keeping things close to your heart. And do me a favor. I know this card is telling me that either you or your partner are struggling a little bit with worrying about the weight issue and stuff, again, go get that checked. It's not just about diet. It's about keeping all of your health in check.
Okay. So next is Lily. Hello, Lily. How are you? It's been a while since we've seen you. Lily, you have the Lovers, and this is number 6, which is June. And June's a good month. That's the month our granny was born in. But June represents, okay, so the Lovers can represent love, but it can also be love of relationship, love of the job, love of, and I think love is used too loosely. It could be that you're developing a new relationship, but June represents Gemini and Cancer. And Gemini is about twins. And normally it's represent about duality of having two sides to the coin. But what it's also about is knowing exactly how to organize and put into place what you are looking for. It's also about dinner parties. It's about having a little fun, letting your hair down, because June is about the time of year that the weather's beginning to get better. We start doing barbecues. And so for me, I would say maybe it's time to bring family together. Maybe you're going to be around family. I believe you are, but it's about enjoying those moments when you have that connective, whether it's family or friends or whatever. It's that connectiveness that brings us together, that makes us realize that there's value in our relationships. All right. So next is Jen D. She says, hello, if you could please pull a card for myself and for my daughter, Claire. Thank you, Jen, about the red hair. I dug out the wigs again.
Okay, so Jen D.
And her daughter, Claire.
We'll read for Jen first. You know, for you, I drew the devil. And seriously, the devil gets so much bad rep. The devil doesn't just talk about not doing good things. The devil gives you a little bit of permission to break free of the chains and the crap that are restricting you. It gives you permission to put up your boundaries. I mean, really, basically, the devil is saying, do what you want, but be aware of your consequences. So if you've got the moxie and the guts to pursue the dream that seems like it's outrageous to everyone else, when you get a card like the devil, it also talks about the fact that remember your consequences. Remember free will. The devil never ever said you have to do this. The devil said, hey, I'm going to give you free will as long as you're willing to pay for it. So trust in your abilities, trust in your strength, cut yourself some slack, be a little freer. Just remember, there's balance in the universe. And at some point or other, everything comes with a price. Be willing to pay the price. Now, the daughter was
Claire.
Claire. I feel like Claire wants to plan a family. Not quite sure why I'm thinking that, except it feels like Claire is looking, if she hasn't found the person, she's looking for someone. She's looking for that connection, that ability to communicate with someone outside herself. Make sure that who you are looking at is looking at you the same way. Make sure that your dreams are realistic. And I feel like you're young. So I could be wrong, but it feels like you're young.
Yeah.
Or you have a very young spirit. And it's okay to have a young spirit if you're young, and it's okay if you're older. But remember that, again, much like the card for your mom, there are always consequences. So take some time, think about for sure what you want and whether you are rushing into something you shouldn't be.
Okay. So next is Jeannie and Brandon. Hello. Okay, so I pulled 2 cards.
Isn't her name Janine?
Jeannie.
Oh,
So Jeannie, you have 2 cards for you and Brandon. You have the Fool, and what's Fool? What's really interesting in this deck, I found out, is there's 2 Fool cards. So that it's like I don't think that's supposed to happen, but nonetheless, I have 2 of them. So this is like, as we know, the Fool is taking a step into the unknown, and this could be for either one of you. So I'll let you guys to apply it too. But the unknown could be, wait, I gotta find the hand that works. The unknown could be the Ace of Wands, which is a new job, a new offer, a move, a shift. Or you guys could be having another baby. So I'm just gonna say heads up. But what I find about this is the innocence, the new beginnings, and it's the free spirit, which, Penelope mentioned with the devil, you have free choice. But this is really in the right place at the right time and finding that things are working out for you. So I'm going to say trust universe, because universe knows exactly what to give you at a particular time in your life when you need it, even if you don't want it. Okay, so next I'm just going to run through a few names. Just bear with me. We have Tamala, Brenda S., Orville, good evening. Dominica said thank you. Carly, she's a Capricorn, so that fit in? I don't remember. The baby's growing in you. Then I'm going to tell you to take care. I think it's a girl, but I've been known to be wrong. Then we have Ilya and we have Jessica. So those are the order for the next. So Tamala's next.
Tamala. The card that came up for you is the Tower. And the Tower talks about how nothing is ever supposed to last. Nothing is supposed to last forever. And although it may seem that you might be at your most vulnerable in some regards, that even if things look like they might change and they might not change the way you want them to, that things will get better. They will improve. You know that old expression, darkest before a storm? And out of every storm, something really, really good happens. So if you look at this card, and I don't know why I need to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this, is you see where the lightning is really hitting the ground, like sandy ground? There is actually an effect where the lightning creates this actual glass from the sand. And it creates something that becomes of great value to people. People pay tens of thousands of dollars to buy this glass that was made by lightning. So as harsh as things may seem in the next little while, there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Thanks. Okay, so Brenda, for you and Tina, I pulled 2 cards. So I'm going to put them side by side. So Brenda, you have this card, the 5 of Cups. Now I'm thinking this is about Halloween because you guys are dressed up and maybe you get to dress up when you go to work, sort of idea. But the 5 of Cups talks about acknowledging that there are things inside of our past that we can't change, no matter how much we want to. And to look to our future, to see what there is being offered to us that we can work with. So I acknowledge the past is the past, Brenda, and the future is still in front of you, and there's so many unlimited possibilities that you can look at. So I'm saying to look at both. And then Tina, you have the 8 of Wands, and I love the skirt, okay, but the 8 of Wands says that you're trying to make a decision, and you're tying yourself up in knots as you try to make the decision, and what you have to do is sit and listen. Pay attention to the vibrations around you, pay attention to the way you're breathing, so that as you're making your decision, you're making it calm and rational, that you're not, oh my God, I've got to make this decision right now, because if I don't make this decision right now, it's out of my hands. That's not true. Okay. So calm and rational, Tina, when you make your decision. Okay. Orville's next. Hello, Orville.
Orville. For you, the Ace of Swords. Check out the dragonfly there. Firefly. Now the Ace says, trust that the conditions are right to change your environment. So if you're in answer to your question, is there a move possibly coming? The dragonfly says yes. Trust. Now you guys all got to see Bailey for a brief minute as she's going down the stairs. Trust that the conditions are right. Take a look at the conditions, determine if this is the way you want to go, and then determine where you're going. It's easy to say a move is in the future, but it's everybody has a possible move in the future. So you might want to decide where you are going. And then, yes, there are changes coming in the future.
All right. So next is Ilya, Jessica, Marie, M, Liam, Lisa, Marion, and Jeanette. So, Ilya, the Four of Swords normally is, it's normally a card that says, I feel sorry for myself. Okay. Instead of looking at what life where you are in life, you're too busy dwelling in the past. But in this particular case, this Four of Swords makes me feel as though you need to take time for you, that you're overworked, you're a little exhausted, that you're not up to peak. And what wouldn't be really nice is one of those swings that you just sit in and it goes back and forth, you know, the ones on the porch. And also a nice tropical vacation would be nice. But they're just saying to take time, whatever it is that is making you sad or making you melancholy, that it's going to change. Okay. Not to hold on to it, that it is actually going to change and move into a brighter area for you. So just take some time for you.
Now, D'Arcy, before the next person, I know that Tamala Miller has said she was going to be on and that her daughter might want a card. And I don't know if Michaela is on, but do you mind, Michaela?
I haven't seen her yet, so we'll go down a little bit and see.
Do you mind if I pull a card real quick so Tamala can pass it on to her daughter?
Fine. Yep.
Okay, Michaela, I pulled for you the Nine of Cups. Dust off your shoes. It's time to start moving forward. And if you're thinking about changing locations, changing jobs, changing environments, now's the time to do it. Quick and easy message. Sorry, guys. I meant to say that when I read for Tamala.
Okay. Well, next is Jessica.
Okay.
So, Jessica, you have the Eight of Cups. And this one is about leaving behind. Well, as we know, cups are emotions. They're the water sign. But this one is a giraffe, and I'm really going to have to fix that camera. But the giraffe, in this particular case, she's leaving behind. Maybe she's going out for a party, given that outfit, you know. Haven't seen that for a long time. And she may be going out for a party, and she's leaving the dishes behind. Well, that's okay. You can do the dishes in the morning, even if you have a hangover. But it's like whatever needs to be left behind can be dealt with later. You don't have to deal with it at that very moment. But it's also about a message from the past coming back to visit you. And this could be a person you haven't seen for a while, and they may be in touch. I would say we're going into November, so it's either this November or next November. And they're going to be in touch, and you're going to be quite surprised when they are in touch, because it's probably the last person you thought you would ever hear from. So I'm just going to say, you know, be open to the message. Who knows? It might be more than you expected. So Renee said thanks, Faye said thanks, and Marie M is next.
Marie, I chose for you the Knight of Cups. Check out the frenzy here, a little less frenzy. and I don't know why, but when I saw this, the first message that came across to me is slow down on your frenzy, slow down on your spending spree. Now is the time. Like, usually we see a cup and it's the expression is my cup runneth over. This cup is pretty empty because there's been all this spending and carefree, you know, play now, work later sort of mentality it says around you. Now's the time to start building your savings. Tucking that extra $10 at the end of the month away, or that extra coffee that you didn't buy this week, tuck that money in the jar. Or, silly things like I no longer pay $15 a week to do laundry. So I take that $15 that I used to pay and I put it in a jar. And, the next thing you know, a month and a half, 2 months later, you've got a little nest egg. That I call it my fun jar. So that basically means I can carelessly spend it if I so desire. I don't, but I could. Okay.
All right. Hi, Liam. I hope you're having a good evening. You have The Magician. And I thought of that song, Magic. But it was in my head. I can't think of the words, but it's like, do. Oh, I wish I could think of the words. But anyways, it makes me think that something good, exciting is coming your way. And it could be the figure 8 too. But you've got it down here, plus you have it up here, and it's the energy you're putting out that's bringing it back. It feels January. I would say you're looking into January at this, and I'm going to say, Christmas is coming, and it could be Christmas. You could be getting an unexpected visitor. You could be getting a raise at work, or even finding an additional job for yourself at work. But it's good news, okay? I guess with every good news, there's a little bad news, but I'm really leaning to the good news. Bad news can wait. Okay, Orville, I think Penelope answered that. Next is Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Lisa, the sun. Notice how this beautiful little creature is just basking in the sunlight. So if anyone ever said to you that you were a bright light in the dark, be prepared to have more of that radiance coming out of you. Be prepared to have more of that light to give other people. But on the other side of that, put things in place to guard a bit of your health, to guard your light a little bit. Because if you drain yourself helping everybody and shedding light on everybody's darkness, and you don't replenish yourself, we're not an endless battery.
I don't know. I equated myself to the Energizer battery just recently. Energizer bunny.
Anyway. I believe that we're not, when we're giving out part of ourselves and our gift to heal and stuff, we are not an endless battery. We need to take time to recharge.
Yeah. Hi, Marion. Okay, so Marion, you have the Ace of Swords. And as we know, swords are connected to air. They're the intelligent, the truth, the ambition card. And there's a laurel wreath around the sword, so that means victory. And it's also about finding the balance that you need. Communication, you may find yourself talking a lot more, so make sure you're having lozenges around you. And it's also clarity of thought. So I'm going to say that I know you have a sharp mind, that you have achieved things you never believed you could in this lifetime, and yet there's more for you to do. And most important, I'm really grateful that you are one of my best friends, and just know there's a breakthrough coming, so be open to it. Okay, so after Marion is Jeanette, and thank you about the hair.
Jeanette, the Emperor. Now check this guy out. Here's a silverback gorilla. Yes, he's got a skull in his hand, so it's kind of intimidating. And he's got all this food, but he's not hoarding. He's sharing. He has made sure that and we're not just talking about sharing food, but we're talking about sharing knowledge. If you're in a position of authority, you've also got to be able to to know how to respond to the people underneath you, and to be able to get the messages across without offense, without having people talk behind your back and devalue what you have. And the other thing is trust in yourself. Believe that your voice can be heard. Not, you know, I was recently talking to someone about raising your voice in anger, raising your voice in fear, but I also forgot that you can raise your voice just an octave to be heard. It is not fear, that is not anger, but it is the voice of respect, the voice of command. Practice those voices. Because if you create that era of respect, then people will respect you.
Right. You're welcome. And yes, embrace your artistic side. Why be apologetic for it? Lily, you're welcome. Heather, you're welcome. Jeannie, you're welcome. And Claire is 12, so she will not be looking for a relationship.
Yes, the 12-year-olds fantasize.
And Patty, I'll get right with you. And in a minute, you'll see why I smirked. Jeannie said thank you, and thanks, Penelope. Michaela, I think you just did. And then Aaliyah is after that. So Patty. So I don't know if you're single or not, but you know the old expression, I'll meet you with bells on? Look at him. He's got lots of bells on. And so I don't know if this is you're meeting someone and they're saying, I'll meet you. You'll know me because I'll be holding a red rose or something, or whether this is about Christmas and celebrating and knowing that the people who passed are still there with you. And it is about the concept or idea that, you know, money, as our uncle used to tell Ashley, that our Uncle Dave, her great uncle, would tell her that money grew on a tree. And so his money's growing on his horns. But I think you have some money coming towards you, Patty, and I just don't know how, whether it's an inheritance, whether someone's paying you back because they borrowed and they finally have managed to get the money in place to do so. But there is a little money around you. So Aaliyah's next.
Aaliyah, possibilities, possibilities, possibilities. All these possibilities and for new work, new opportunity, new job. The kingfisher, one of the things the kingfisher symbolizes is that they keep you safe. So someone is trying to send you a message, and their personality was very much like that kingfisher, able to provide for you, able to keep you safe at some point, and that you are to believe that these opportunities are for you. And here's the important thing I'm being told to tell you, honey, is that you also have to believe that you are worth these good opportunities. So believe in yourself, believe you're worth it, and know that on the other side of the veil, there is someone who is helping send these opportunities to you because they also believe that you are worth it. So you know that one of my favorite sayings is, if you believe in you half as much as I believe in you, you can do anything.
Yeah. So Tamala said thank you, and her daughter said hi, but she responded to her. And Michaela had said hi a couple of times, but I know you read for her. So Litz said, what a surprise to see your cat, Penelope. Orville said, okay, thank you. Hard to find a question to ask. Laugh out loud. And Ilya said, thank you. So, and I think Michaela said something. Just a minute. I'm going to roll down, and I will get to you. Penelope, thank you. Okay, and Tamala, thanks. She said to say hi, but replied to, okay. All right, so Tanya, I had to think for a minute. Tanya, you have the 9 of Cups, okay? And it makes me think dreams can come true. I was thinking of when you wish upon a star, okay? And that's what this made me think of. And it made me, I never saw that. Look, he's got Aladdin's lamp right down there. So, makes me think dreams can come true. So believe in your dream, believe in what you're doing, and hold on to it. Don't let anyone tell you you can't have a dream. make sure, and if you need to write it down so you just remind yourself, then write it down. But Tanya, dreams, your dreams are important and no one should ever tell you they're not. All right. So Kay is next. Hello, Kay.
Hi, Kay. Kay, for you, the Six of Swords. Check out that flying squirrel. This is actually called a sugar glider. Not sure if you can see that very well. And you know something? It takes off with no effort. I don't know if you were ever a child that lived somewhere as a child that you lived where there were flying squirrels, but D'Arcy and I did. And once in a while in the summer, our parents would spread straw under certain trees, and we'd all get to camp out in the yard, like 30 feet away from the front door. And one of the things that was always fascinating was to watch the flying squirrels. The gliders go from tree to tree with little effort. And what that's saying is you can't stand still forever. I mean, standing still looks like it's safe, but the reality is you can't stand still forever. But you're in a position right now where you can glide effortlessly to the next place that you want to be, the next dream you want to follow. I mean, yes, there's always risk, and sometimes we fall and we cut ourselves. But you know what? Sometimes we find ourselves standing in a field of thorns, and no matter what we do, we need to move. We either have to go to the bathroom or we have to go home and have food or something. So, I mean, there's always a risk. But right now, this card is telling me, this Six of Swords, that the risk is minimal for you. So have a leap of faith, spring off from that sedentary position that you're in, and fly.
All right. So Rochelle's next. Marion, you're welcome. And Jeanette, you're welcome. Liam, welcome. Mr. Khan's after that. No, you're not too late for a card for yourself and your wife. Patty says thank you, and Marie says thank you. Have a great weekend. You too as well, Marie. Okay, so Rochelle, you have the 8, which is one of the arcana, and the 8 represents strength. But the 8 also represents August, which represents Leo and Virgo. But it represents ambition. It represents planning. It represents, okay, so Leo most Leos, not all Leos, just some, like to be put together before they go out the door. And so when I think of Leo, I think of proud, I think of gorgeous, I think of movie star type people. And so there is something here that, Rochelle, you need to sort of take that glam and use it a little bit for yourself. And if it's boosting yourself up or redoing your resume so you can get a new job, that is what you should be doing. Use a little of the glam to get what you're looking for. Okay, so Mr. Khan and his wife, Nastora.
Okay, well, I noticed we have someone that looked like they were a person, but they're not.
I can't block them anymore. They changed the video.
Oh, Ashley can't block them. They've changed something on it.
Okay,
So we'll just ignore them.
Mr. Khan first?
Mr. Khan and Miss Dora.
Okay, well, Mr. Khan, patience, patience, patience. Patience is the key to everything. Just because things aren't working quite the way you think they are, doesn't mean that things aren't in the works for moving in the direction you want them to go. You know that old adage, never judge a book by its cover? Well, never judge what you think is a block in the road by what's there. You might find out that block in the road, that roadblock, that brick, whatever it is that you feel that's hampering you, you might find that it's absolutely necessary to have right now. So patience. It makes me think of that, what was that show with David Carradine who played, Grasshopper, Patience Grasshopper, which feels like that's not one of your saving graces, no offense. I don't know you as well as D'Arcy, but it feels like it's not one of your saving graces, so practice it. And the other person was his wife, right?
His wife, Mastora.
Mastora.
Hmm.
You know, Mastora, this card is the Empress. Believe in yourself, honey. You're powerful. You know that expression, I am woman, hear me roar? You're strong, you're confident. You have an amazing an amazing inner strength. If you're feeling a little overwhelmed right now, see if you can find some way to take a little time for a spa day or a pamper you kind of day where it's not about family, it's not about responsibility, it's not about whether the baby needs to be fed or changed. It is all about you. Now is the time to make things a little more about you. Just for a day or two once in a while so that you can be regrounded and be that amazing empress, that person who runs the house and everything else that you are.
All right. So we have Bev, we've read for Kay. Then we have Heather and the Bello Bab Atundi. You can leave the show. Unfortunately, Ashley can't block them. Facebook has changed something. So if anyone's able to block them, please go ahead. So Bev, you have the Six of Pentacles. And this is having a little extra money to spend. And it could be that you're getting things brought in, you know, like getting ready for winter. And by the way, we're supposed to have a storm here if anyone's in BC. So I'm going to say this is nesting. This is getting ready for the winter. It's finding that little safe space that you want to be in. And it's also paying some bills, but it's also putting money aside so that you have it for later in the year. So I guess in a way I could say it's about balance, but sometimes balance isn't all that fun. And we do have to cut loose sometime. And I'm going to have to cough, so I'm just going to mute it. But the next person is Heather.
Heather, have faith. Heather, I chose for you to fool. Actually, the cards chose for you to fool, but the fool is one of my favorite cards, regardless of whatever it appears in a deck. A indigenous woman standing on the nose of a coyote, blindfolded with a light in her hand, because she has faith. There is a certain amount of liberation, not knowing where we're going or how the final outcome is. Have faith. Embrace that liberating feeling of the beginning of a journey where you are absolutely clueless and you don't know how the story is going to end. And in this particular case, it's life, so you don't get to jump to the end of the book. I discovered that recently, Heather. So many people jump to the end of the book to see whether or not they're going to like the ending. I've never quite understood that. So the Fool says, you can't jump to the end of the book. You are beginning the book and you are the book.
Could you hold up your deck so that Kay can see what it is, please?
Sure. This is the Animal
Totem.
The Animal Totem Tarot. I actually bought this at a witchery market last weekend here in Edmonton, and it is from a shop where the fairies live.
Okay. So next is Gloria, then Jessica M, then Sandra Murray, and then Alana. Okay, so Gloria, hi, how are you? It's been a while. Gloria, you have the Four of Wands, which is celebration party. It's normally a wedding. It could be the purchase of something as well. It could be an anniversary. So whatever it is, they're saying, go ahead, enjoy yourself, let your hair down. Live for the moment, because the uncle I talked about earlier who said money grows on trees, he also told me at a wedding that no one's going to remember you, so honey, if you want to get up on that table and dance, you go right ahead. He was wrong. People do remember you. So just remember that if you don't want to do something that you don't want to be remembered for, then don't do it. But I have to say that it was rather unique to be in London Airport in Heathrow and to have someone come up to me and say, "Hey, aren't you Dave's niece?" Maybe. And I went, "Why? Aren't you the girl on the table?" And I went, "Yep, my uncle said no one would remember." So there you go. People do remember. And it could be something funny and humorous, just like that was. Okay, Jessica M is next.
Perfect. Jessica M, the Queen of Pentacles. Huh, you got a thread. Isn't there some old wives' tale about finding a piece of thread?
Don't know.
The Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is, now I noticed that there is a pig, but the irony is, this is not a derogatory thing. There's a couple things. It talks about abundance and good fortune. Did you know, I didn't know this until recently, and I had read this in my deck when I first picked it up on the weekend. And then I went online to read this, and this is a true story. In China, people plan years in advance so that they can have that baby in the year of the pig, because pigs are considered good fortune. They are considered a sign of true abundance, true growth, and true wealth. So I think this is a time for you to believe in the abundance of your spirit, the abundance of your knowledge, and to have faith in yourself and in what you are capable of doing. It is also about not making excuses for why you're not moving forward.
Okay. Hi, Bev. You have the. Wait, Sandra. Sorry, Sandra Murray. Oh my God, I almost forgot you. And since I think you gave me these cards, right? The Curious Creatures. And Sandra, you have the Knight of Cups. Look at that heart right there, right here. Okay. And I don't know if that means you've got romance coming towards you, but he is a frog. And, he's got a rose in his mouth. He's got a cup in his hand. And, he's riding the horse with confidence. So that could be a motorcycle. And you could have romance coming towards you. And if you're open to it, it's there. There is a hook in there. So it's like someone's looking to hook themselves a romantic relationship. So I'm going to say be open to romance, whether that is an actual person or something that you're really enjoying in life. So romance doesn't always have to be a person. It's like when I knit. I love knitting. And I'm not using that word loosely because I really do. There's something about it. It calms me. It opens up a channel even larger so that I can hear spirit even more. So, whatever that romance is, just be open to it. Okay, so next is Bev. Or did we read Bev already? Yes, you did. Okay, Alana is next.
Alana, for you,
Right.
For you to star, the wishing card. Sometimes we have a wish inside of us that is so big, so huge, the desire for the wish, the want for the wish, that it's almost impossible to ask for that wish. And you're just at the cusp of being able to get that wish, to ask for that wish. But always remember, and it goes back to something I said earlier, is every wish has a price. Every action has a consequence. I feel like I'm giving a lesson in financial management all of a sudden. But you have to be willing to pay the cost of that wish. Whether that cost is working towards that wish, it's sort of like, think about the pearl. See the pearl in the oyster? The only way an oyster can create a pearl is because it has sand irritating the crap out of it. but the oyster wants to create a pearl, we'll say. So if it did want to create that pearl, I have no idea. Maybe the oyster doesn't, but in this case it does. It puts up with irritation the price it pays for that thing of beauty. So have faith that your wish is obtainable, but know that it comes at the cost of working towards it in order to achieve it.
Okay. So next is Elaine. Then there's Stephen. And Stephen, if you just hold on a minute. And then Annalisa. Stephen. Okay, Stephen, we'll answer your question last, okay? Because he's asking an actual question, so we're going to answer that last. Elaine, and then the last person will be Annalisa, and then I'll read out Stephen's question, and we'll answer it. Or not. Elaine.
Okay. I'm Elaine.
Pardon me? No, Elaine. Elaine P.
Is she mine?
No, she's yours. Elaine, you have the sun. And this is shining light, standing up for yourself, believing in the purity of your thoughts, and it's rejoicing, and it's also money. Sunflowers represent money. So there's a few little things going on there, but it's also, if you're out in the sun, make sure you've got on sunscreen. But it could also be that you may be auditioning for something. And I know I've said up to people before and they go, no. But remember, when you go in for an interview for a job, it's an audition. So make sure you have all your lines in place before you audition. And then Annalisa.
Annalisa. You know, Annalisa, the Two of Wands, do you see how that... there's a beautiful stingray there, and the stingray talks about moving forward through emotion and moving forward through murky water. You know, it's the Two of Wands says, you know, it's time to move forward, honey. It's time to let go of the emotional trauma that is holding you back. And by no way am I saying that the emotions you're feeling are not valid. I'm not saying you don't have a right to wallow or to hold on to them for a while. But at some point, if you want to move forward, you have to let them go. I've always felt that when I need a little more clarity from the burden of having too much emotion, I find water. I seek out water. Whether it's water from a stream that I found a creek recently, or it's dancing in the rain, I do something because water for me, even though I'm an earth creature, water grounds me. And water makes me feel like I can let go of everything and just move in the flow of that water, right? And that's where you need to be. You need to be able to move past the emotional about things that are binding you down. You can carry that emotion with you, but you just need to let it go enough that you can move forward.
Okay, so now we're going to look at Stephen's question, and so it's two-part. He says, "Hi, I just wanted to ask if there is a way to be able to tell me what a specific entity looks like. And what context do you need to answer this question? I have asked a great many who have been unable to see this thing." Then he goes down and he says, "From my minimal personal abilities to see such things, I believe it is a chain demon and is very strongly attached in this world. Now, after so many years of it being given access without close off here in our world." Oh, wait, there's another one?
Yeah, one more.
"Thank you. My sole question is, what does this thing look like?" Oh, okay. Wow. Can I answer that off this? Because I'm actually going to have to look to see what it looks like. I'm going to use your idea of chain demon. But it's weird because I don't really feel he's chained if he's not been closed off.
I think that now maybe my interpretation is wrong.
Well, that's just it. I don't know how to interpret this.
When I envision a chained demon, it's a demon that tries to chain mortal souls. So think of the best way of the analogy is, you know how in Ebenezer Scrooge, his partner was bound by chains?
Yeah.
There are demons that are like that. And that's how I understood chain demons. Chain demons are the beings that are at the other end of those chains. And they basically torture the actual mortal soul, the living soul that we are encased in right now.
Okay. I'll leave you to answer that because it makes a sound of enormous chain links, like ship anchor size being dragged when it comes. Well, that's like Ebenezer Scrooge. So I'll leave Penelope's answer to that.
Yeah, and they say that the only way to face it, the only way to deal with it is to face what it is that has held you in place. Like, we don't have to die to have our soul bound by chains.
I never ever believed their souls are bound by chain. I think it's the belief system too.
It is, but some people believe that demons are real and that demons have the ability to hold to us. And when we're susceptible, so like, for example, think of what a sin. Think of what you believe a sin is. You know, I recently had a conversation with someone and I said, what was your favorite food? And their response wasn't, oh, I love apples or I love oranges. It was, well, how sinful are we talking? And obviously there's something about food that he associates with sin, and sin makes us feel guilty. Sin burdens us, right? Well, there are demons out there who hold fast to that. They torture souls. There are people who believe that those demons are capable, if given a door, of torturing you while you are living.
Okay, so he says, you don't understand, I'm quite serious, and we are taking this seriously. He wants to know how tall it is. Well, I'm going to say tall, the height doesn't matter because I'm thinking at least over 6 feet.
Maybe this is better.
I think this is something to talk about offline because that's not really this platform. So if you don't mind, we'll talk about this offline.
Yeah, you know what? It's also, we'll talk about it offline because it's also about Dungeons and Dragons, and I suspect this person might be a bit of a troll.
Yeah. So I'm not going down that little rabbit hole because I'm sorry. This is something that if you want to talk about it, yeah, I am one of us and we can respond, but that's about it. So we had a couple more people. We're over the hour. Facebook has a habit of cutting us off at the hour. So quickly, there is Jennifer and Shar and
Cynthia.
Brittany and Cynthia. So if you're really fast.
You go first, D'Arcy.
Okay. Who is Jennifer? Jennifer, just a minute. Nope. Just give me a minute. I gotta shuffle the cards. Okay, Jennifer, you have the Tower, and this is about change. It's about moving forward. It's about putting away things you don't need anymore. Like summer's over, now we're into winter, so some people put away their summer clothes. It's about reboxing. It can also, strangely enough, be about refinancing something. So I'm going to say that you have some change happening. And as long as you look at it and you do it swiftly and with care, everything should fall into place. So next is Shar.
Have a little fun, Shar. Time to let go of sorrow, and I don't mean that lightly. Time to be like a seal and have a little playfulness. Leave the sadness on the shore and go jump into the water and have some fun. The sorrel will still be there when you get back, but carrying sorrel doesn't mean you can't have a little fun, honey.
Okay, I'm just backing up one because Heather asked if we could pull a card for Mark. So Mark, you have the Two of Wands, which is new starts, new beginnings, looking at a new enterprise, whether this is going into business for yourself or taking on a new job, but there is something new coming towards you, which you are going to feel proud about. So I'm going to say, look at it carefully and decide which one fits you better. Then there's Brittany.
Okay, well, Brittany, for you, the Six of Cups. See how the otters are playing? Six of Cups, whether it is in your work, your professional, or your personal life, it is time to be a little more playful, time to set the seriousness aside, and time to have a little fun. Enjoy your life.
Okay, Cynthia, you have the Five of Swords, and this is communication, and it's clearing a communication path. It's listening to what is said and then replying to it, and it's replying with care. Choose your words wisely. Then there's Tammy.
Okay, Tammy, the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles. You know what? You know how they say dance like there's no one looking? Work like there's no one looking. Dance for that like there's no one looking. Quit caring what other people think you are or are not capable of. If you can dream it, you can achieve it, regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
Set your intention, make your intention realistic, or in some cases, maybe even make it a little unrealistic in most people's viewpoints. Make it real for you. Quit caring. Be like, do you honestly think that mountain goat spends hours trying to get up that rock face? It intuitively and instinctively knows it will make the next level because it's not second guessing itself.
Okay, and last but not least, Brenda, another Brenda. Brenda, you have the Judgment Caller, which is the number 20. And it made me think of go listen to jazz music, just enjoy the moment, listen to the beauty of the notes, and to take time for yourself to make sure that you're doing just that, whether it's jazz music or country western or whichever you prefer. It's time to put your feet up, good glass of wine or a cup of tea, coffee, whichever is your poison, and just enjoy the music. Well, everyone, thank you so much for being on the show. We will see you next week on Wednesday. And take care of yourself, which is most important right now.
Everyone, thank you so very much for always being so supportive and for being here on the show with us. You have no idea what it means. Well, I know it means a great deal to D'Arcy. It also means a great deal to me. Have faith and believe in yourselves. If you're looking for readings, I'm sure you know how to find us. D'Arcy has it posted. And I will leave you with my favorite expression. Masalama. Go in light. Blessed be.
Blessed be everyone, and may love, joy, peace, prosperity, and happiness find you all in mysterious ways. Look after yourself. Cheers.